Good morning all. Myself Anantaramanji from BTech ACE final year, Shastra Deemed University in SRC campus. I am going to explain the concept of law of demands and its determinants. First of all, we have to know the meaning of demand. Demand is a principle of economics that captures the customer's desire to buy the product or service. The demand is calculated as the price the customers are willing to pay for the product or service. uh, market price uh, market price are determined via demand and supply. If the demand of a product is more than the supply, the price seems to go up. The demand, the prices go for the supply. Demand is the consumer desire to purchase a particular goods or service. Market demand is a demand for a particular good in the market. Aggregate demand is the total demand for goods and service in the economy. Demand and supply match determine the price of goods and service. Another here the topic is definitions of demands. Already we know when we say that the person demand for anything increase, we mean that he will buy more of it than he could before at the same price, and that he will much of as before at a higher price, which is told about Alfred Marshall worked in these principles. According to the Ferguson, demand refers to the quantities of commodity that the consumers are able to willing to purchase at each possible during a period of time, other things being equal. Next we are going to discuss about factors responsible for demand. Some important demands factors are the appeal of the product or service to the buyer, availability of competing products or service, financing rate of interest and availability also the perceived availability of the goods and service. Next we are going to discuss about law of demand, which is describes an inverse relationship between price and quantity of a demand of a good. If the price of the good increase, then the demand falls, because the consumer is usually reluctant to spend more and more money or her purchase. If the price of the goods decreases, the demand for the goods increase, because with the price being less, the consumer prefers to buy easily for a good and supplies. In other words, the higher price, the lower price quantity of a demand. This occurs because of diminishing of marginal utility. That is, consumer use the first units of an economical goods they purchase to serve their most urgent needs first. Then they use each additional units of the goods to serve successively lower values ends. The laws of demands helps to understand why things are priced at the level of goods and supplies that they are, and to identity to get the opportunity to buy what are perceived to be product for peoples. Next we are going to laws of demands equations, which is represented to Marshall. The laws of demand is defined as other things being equal, the quantity of a commodity demanded varies inversely with its price. Laws of demands can be expressed as d of x, which is equals to f bracket p of x, where d is the demand for commodity x, x is the commodity demanded, f is the function of functions, p of x is equals to price of the commodity x. Next we are going to assumptions to the laws of demand. No change in price of related commodities, no change in income of the consumer, no change in taste and preservance customs, habits and fashions of the consumers, no expectation regarding future change of principles. Next we are going to discuss about graphical representations of demand, which is represent to demand cycle graph. In other slide we are going to discuss these briefly. Determinants of demand, they are getting 5 determinants of demands, which is the price of goods and service, the income of buyers, the prices of related goods and services, either complementary and purchased along with a particular items or substitutes bought instead of a product. These tastes or perseverance of consumers will be drive demand. The consumer expectation about whether price for the product will be high or fall in the future. Next, we are going to discuss about demand equation or function we called. This equation is express the relations between demand and its five determinants, which is equals to q into d, which is equals to related to function of demand x f. Price and income prices, price income price of related goods and taste expectations we are discussed, which is we are going to discuss about in this picture. We getting 5 in this in one equations, which is called q into d, which is equals to f. In 5 in previous slide, we are described about determinants of demand. In first, we are going to discuss about price of goods and service. Price, what is the price? The price of demand states that when prices rise, the quantity of demand falls. That also means that when prices drop, demand will grow. When people base their purchasing decisions on price, if all other things are equal. If the quantity demanded responds a lot to price, then it is known as a elastic demand. If demand doesn't change much, regardless as price, that inelastic demand. What is mean income? When income rises, when income rises, so will the quantity demanded. When the income fall, the demand will also fall. But if your income doubles, you want to always buy twice than the demand much of a particular goods and service. They are only so many points of people you had want to buy, no matter how wealthy you are. And this is the example of marginal utility. And next, we are going to discuss about prices of related goods and service. The prices of complementary goods and service raise the cost of using the product and you demand, so you will want less. For example, uh, when gas price is less than $4 as gallon in 2008, the demand for gasoline trucks and serves well. Gas is a complementary good to these vehicles. The cost of driving a truck rose along with gas prices. As soon as substitute, such as a new Android phone appears at a lower price, Apple comes out with the better product. Then the Android is no longer a substitute. Next, we are going to discuss about taste. When the public decides, emotions or preference change in the favor of a product, so does the quality demanded. Likewise, when taste go against it, that depress the amount demanded. Brand advising tries to increase the desire for consumer goods. Expectation, what is expectation? When people expect that the value of something will rise, they demand more of it. That helps explain the housing assault bubble of 2005. House prices rose, but people kept buying houses because they expected price is to be increased. Price continued increasing until the bubble burst in 2011. In home prices fell 22% from their peak of dollar to 2,62,200 in March in 2010, which is October 2010. Number of buyers in the market. The number of consumer affects overall or aggregate demand. As more buyers enter the market, demand rises. The types of demands, which is individual demand and market and demand, total market demand and market segment demand, derived demand and direct demand, industry demand and company demand, short run demand and long run demand, price demand, income demand, demand, which is these are the types of demands. First, we are going to discuss about individual and market demand. It refers to the classification of demands of a product based on the number of consumers in the market. Uh, Individual demand can be defined as a quality demanded by an individual for a product at a particular price and within this specific period of time. Market demand is the aggregate of individual demands of the consumer product over a period of time at a specific price, while other factors are less. Organization and industry demand. This refers to be a classification of demand on the basis of market. The demand for the product of an organization at a given price over a point of time is known as organization demand. The sum of total of demands for product of all organizations in a particular industry is known as industry demand. Autonomous and derived demand. This is refers to the classification of demands on the basics of dependency of other products. The demand for a product that is not associated with the demand of other product is known as autonomous or direct demand. The autonomous demand arises during the natural desire of an individual to consume the products. Next, demand for perishable and durable goods. This is refers to the classification of demands on the basics of usage of goods. These goods are divided into two categories, that is are perishable goods and durable goods. Perishable goods are non-durable goods, refers to the goods that have a single use. On the other hand, durable goods refers to goods that can be used repeatedly. Short-term and long-term demand. This refers to the classification of demand on the basis of time period. Short-term demand refers to the demand for products that are usable to very short time for a current period. This demand depends on the current tastes and goods of consumers. Price demand. Price demand is related to the amount a consumer is willing to spend on a product at a given prices. Business use this information to determine at what price point a new product should enter the market. Consumers will buy items based on their perceptions of the product's value. Price elasticity refers to how the demand will change with fluctuations in price. Income demand. As consumers makes more income, quantity demands increase. This means people will buy more overall when they earn more income. Tastes and expectation all within with an increase on income, reducing the size of one market and increasing to another. These are the overview of demands, types of demand, determinants of demands and law of demands. Thank you.